So with that, we're going to get rid of all this excess powder on our face. Welcome besties, my name is Janae, J-A-N-A-E. Today I'm going to be showing you how to have a flawless foundation look for everyday school or even just work. First thing that I do when I'm doing my foundation, I make sure I start off with a clean, fresh face. I've already done my skincare routine, and that's why I have a nice little glow on my skin now. If you don't have one, you should probably start one, but it's not that crazy, alright? First thing we're going to do is we're going to prime. We're going to be using the e.l.f. Pro Grip Primer. I'm going to be honest with you, this is the second time I've used it. I don't know if I really like it. It's very grippy, and I just don't know how I feel, so we'll see. Alright, so now I'm going to set that with my Milk Makeup Set Spray. This is more of a high brand, but I did get the travel size, not the full size, because I just wanted to try it out. And I'm doing this to make sure that the primer is not as sticky as it's meant to be, just because I do another step to help with my T-zone, and I don't want the powder that I put on there to just be soaked up by the primer. I get very oily in my T-zone right here. That's our T-zone. The eyebrows, part of the forehead, usually the center, down to the nose. That's where, if it's been a few hours and I have foundation on, that's where I get all the shine, and it's just not cute. So to combat that, or at least to attempt to combat that, what I do is I apply powder right here in my T-zone or wherever I get oily, and I do that because that's one barrier before the foundation. Now I use a foundation powder to do that, but you can also use a setting powder, you can use a loose powder, whichever you have, and it doesn't really matter the color because your foundation is going to go over it, so you don't have to worry about that. And we're just going to apply that to our T-zone right here. So mine is my nose, as well as right here in the center of my forehead, my eyebrows, just like that. And as you can see, it's now more of a matte. We no longer have any shine, and we do that so that when I put my foundation on and I go through my regular steps, I no longer have to be concerned about my makeup being super shiny after a couple of hours. It's not your fault that you sweat in that area. It's just how our bodies are, to be honest. As you can see, I have very dark circles under my eyes. It's not from lack of sleep, it's just how my skin hyperpigmentation is. The way to combat that is to use a color corrector. So if you have dark circles or hyperpigmentation like these areas here, you can use a peach color. Now the darker they are, the darker you want your color correction. Now if you have redness, to offset the redness, it would be a green corrector. I don't have any redness that I'm really concerned about, so I don't use it, but that's what you would use. Alright, so I've color corrected. Now at this point I want to do my concealer, or at least I want to apply my concealer so that it can start to dry, and so that when I spread it out, I don't have to worry about it moving too much. So there's two things you can do with your concealer. You can get a skin tone colored concealer. All that really doing is going to conceal your under eyes. It's not going to brighten. Or you can get a brightening one, which is a few shades lighter than what you normally would get for your skin tone, to allow for it to brighten. So first I'm going to apply my skin tone. As you can see, it's not that brightening or different from my skin tone. And we're just going to let that set for a little bit, kind of dry up, so you can spread it up to have a brightening effect. Or if you're just going to school or something like that, or you're just not comfortable doing that, you can just spread it around right here under your eyes. Okay, so I am going to also brighten. So I have one that's a couple of shades lighter than my skin tone. It's from e.l.f. It's tan neutral. I'm just going to apply one little dot here, one little dot here. Same thing with here and here. For this one, I'm not going to wait as long because I have the other one that's already set. So we're just going to blend this one out. Using the e.l.f. Halo Glow foundation here. My shade is Tan Deep. I did have to kind of figure that out. I'm not very good at color matching myself, so we did have to kind of guess. And I'm just going to apply this directly to my skin because it's mine. Nobody else is using this. If someone else is using this, I would recommend applying it to the back of your hand and then applying it to your face. And to apply this, I'm going to be using a foundation brush because this actually does not soak up as much product as the sponge does. So I'm going to start with the foundation brush, get it even, and then finish with a sponge. Alright, so I finished my first. Now we're going to take the sponge and kind of blend everything together. And at this part, you can try cream contour and cream blush. You can also do it at the end with powder. I'm actually going to contour and put my blush on as a cream and as a powder. So when I apply my contour, I go right here under the cheekbone here. I do a few dots there. Same thing here. We don't need a lot. One at my temples here. One here. And then right here. A little goes a long way with this stuff, okay? I'm going to take my contour brush and I'm going to blend it out. I'm not going to go down, I'm going to go back. What's left over, I'm going to do my jawline. Alright, so we've contoured. Now we're going to apply our liquid blush. And I don't do a lot of this because I just don't. I do 3 little. We're going to bake, or we're going to, in essence, make sure that we have no creasing where our concealer is at, okay? Right here, it's more of a banana as opposed to a translucent. You can use a translucent powder if you would like to. Everywhere I put right below my contour, this just gives us more of a chisel look. Alright, so now that we're done with that, we're going to get rid of all this excess powder on our face so we don't look crazy when we go out. I'm going to be using this Milani blush that also has a highlight in it. A little bit on my nose. And that's kind of how I highlight and apply blush at the end. Now the final step is to set everything so it doesn't move or do anything. We're going to be going back to our Milk Makeup Setting Spray. Alright, so that concludes the first part of this series. Today we went over everything that has to do with your base makeup. That includes foundation, contour, concealer, color correcting, eyebrows, as well as how to apply your powder, especially if you have a shiny T-zone like I do. Hopefully you understood exactly what I was saying. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comment section. I hope this was very thorough and really explained to a lot of the beginner makeup people who don't understand what people mean by like concealer, or it just makes no sense to you, okay? So I would like to thank you for coming to see this video. I'll see you guys in the next one, and stay tuned for part 2 where we discuss our eyeshadow.